Right, okay, cool. Right, here we go again. Right, proper update, proper mic, hopefully better sound, we'll see. I'm just going to put this one aside. Right, sorry it's been so long since the last update. There's no point doing anything if I haven't got anything progressed, so to speak, just because a bit slow. I've got a normal Monday to Friday, unfortunately, and I only get a couple of days a week in here. I do the best I can, but it's just me, so we're starting off best we can do with what we've got. Right, so bed's in, as you obviously got some of the walls up, and I've got some of the panelling in and nice and tidy-ish. I've got one side's stuck, just stuck with high temperature. I've got 1.5mm fiberglass heat shielding all round, inside as well as back side. I've left the back walls off so you can see what's going on in the back there as well. I'll show you in a sec. Right, the bed itself first. Right, all fitted up. I had to mess around a lot because, well, I keep saying, I'm not a specialist. I have fitted on rails because I've got 15 lamps on the underside, which I'll switch on in a sec. I was hoping to get to a higher temperature. I tried it out yesterday. If anything, it just made this workshop stupidly hot. I managed to get the bed to about 60 degrees, stable, unfortunately. Not as high as I wanted, but that is with open air. So hopefully, once I've insulated it all out, boarded it all off properly, and the doors are on, and the bellows are in, it will maintain a better temperature. So, there we go. Right, so I'll put this on rails so I can always get back to it. It's not perfect, it does drop, so bear with me. Down she comes. Simple as that, so I can pull this out, and I get a jockey wheel attached to the front here so I can stabilise it, drag it out further. So if any of the lamps go, I can replace the lamps that are in there and then, well, pull it back basically, or pull it out if I'm having trouble getting the part off the build plate. I can get around it properly, even though, well, yeah, even though I can climb in there really, so it's not a major issue. Right, back on. Yeah, nice and rough, but it locks in place. So this gives you a better scale. I mean, I'm what, 5'5", you know, if I grow my hair out sort of thing. That's the top rail. Whole frame just from this bottom section here is 2 meters to the rail, and obviously mine's the floor level. At the back, right, so I left this off here. I'll clamber down here so you can see me. Right, at the back here, I've fitted a 25mm ball screw and 25mm rails. Nothing special on the rails because this doesn't have to be precision. I've just fitted it so it's just easier really. This is going to be the light frame axes. So on here there will be a frame going all the way around with additional lighting mounted to it to help keep the part heated, or it will just traverse up and down to maintain an even temperature across the material in theory. So that will be the last things to go in, because it's going to be a nightmare to move around in here if I've got a big frame floating about. I thought I'd do this video as well. I'll do it a bit more in depth because the sound quality has been very, very poor. I do apologise. So I bought the wireless mic just to kind of help things out. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. I suppose I'll find out when I edit this, and then I'll have to redo it again probably. Never mind. I haven't done much to the rail top section. Been focusing on this bottom section. All the underside has been heat shielded as well, just to make sure obviously everything's protected and it's all wired in. So I'll just give that a little switch on. You can see how it glows coming in. Dropping down. There we go. Right, 1 second. I'll just go switch on the power. There we go. Right. Obviously a nice little glow down there. So we go. Turn this up a little. All I'm using is a 10 kilowatt speed controller, and then basically using that to exactly that. Use it as a dimmer. Not 10 kilowatts. It's 3 kilowatts. 15 lamps at 200 watts. 220 volts. So they work nicely, as you can see, nice little glow. But unfortunately, it's a medium wave, infrared wave. It's perfect for, I suppose, material penetration to heat up inside out, sort of microwave based sort of thing. Not quite microwave, because I won't be stood here. So I'm going to try a different wave. I'm thinking to go short wave. Short wave is supposed to be a much higher temperature. Hopefully I can get short wave in the 200 watt range. Worst case scenario, I have to go up to 300 watts, which is not terrible. It's another 100 watts, another 1.5 kilowatts. So I have about 4.5 kilowatts under there, which is definitely better than a silicon heat mat. So I use a silicon heat mat on this. I'm looking at around, I think it's over £4,000 for the heat mat. And the problem with that is it was high draw, so I was looking at about 8 kilowatts, maybe more. And if the mat goes, I've got to replace the whole mat. You know, £3,000-4,000 at a time. If the mat goes after its life, you've got to replace the whole thing. These lamps are anywhere between £5 and £10 each. The fitting was £6. The fitting doesn't really go unless I go in there and break it, you know, or unless this thing catches alight. And I know for safety, I have to make sure, because I can be a bit dizzy. I make sure I've got a fire extinguisher. I've got a CO2 one, which you never know. We could be stood here and like set a blaze behind me, but you know, but it's nice. I mean, it kicks out nicely. 60 degrees is not quite what I wanted. I'm hoping to get around about 160 degrees on the bed. So trial and error, keep going. I'll try the short wave, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a much higher temperature. This bed is purely just for a start. It's not like I wouldn't call it class as a prototype. It's a sacrificial bed. I've got designed for a heated vacuum holding bed, but budget is budget, and we do the best with what we've got yet again. So this will make do. This will work. I know this will work because I'll make it work. But luckily the lamps aren't going to go to waste, because I'm using the same type of lamps on the light frame on the inside as well for the part heating. So that's not a major problem, which means I have plenty of spares, which is always good. You can't complain for spares. That's absolutely fine there. So, right, I've got the lights going. I'll switch these off, and then we'll start going through. Now you can hear me. I'll go through a bit more in depth of how I'm going to run this big box. Okay, 1 second, I'll switch this off. There we go. Right, off we go. Okay, right. First things first, this is going to be a 5-axis 3D printer / CNC machine. I've got a 20mm pellet extruder. That's from Robot Dig, so I'll just grab that quickly. Right, here we go. 20mm, go to the centre. 20mm feed screw. This Robot Dig's actually quite nice, and it wasn't overly expensive. I bought 2 of these for about £420. I contacted a couple of sellers, suppliers in the UK, and wow, you're looking at thousands and thousands of pounds for one of these. Fair enough, I know this is not going to be as high quality as what they do, but I'll do what I can for now until I get this all dialed in. Eventually I will be putting a metering pump on this, which will allow me to have much more even or much more accurate, as well as retraction on the material. So that should be absolutely fine for now. It would make do. I'm driving this with the JMC servos, which are 400 watts, and I've got a planetary gearbox to go into it. I'll just grab that up. A little planetary gearbox to go on it. This was, if I remember right, 20-1. And the rating for this servo is 4,000 RPM max. So, I mean, 200, the screw's rated at around about 30 RPM, but we'll see if we can get a bit more than that. Up to 2 kilo, I think it said 2 kilograms an hour, which is absolutely fine, plenty there. So, we'll see what we can get. I've had some heaters made for it as well, which are 350 watts at 220 volts. 3 of them, they are made by Microcoils in the UK. They're quite fair. They're around about £100, £115 a go plus VAT, so about over 400 quid for the 3. They should last pretty much forever. They go up to, I think it was around about 750 degrees Celsius. Bit too much. Won't be going that high, but it means I know they're going to last for the duration. So I'll just grab one of them. Right, here we go. Don't know if you can see that. Probably not that good. Focus. Way too light in here. I'm getting a gleam off my head. I do apologise, my makeup artist is off today. But these are quite really well made. They've got a built-in K-type thermostat. So I'll run these straight to my Duet board. I'm using a Duet 3 plus an expansion board, and I've got 7 1XD boards as well to run the servos. Obviously all the high-powered stuff, these as well, these are going to be running off SSRs. The lights, I've got 2 lots, they're going to be running off some, I said just speaker controllers. Both speaker controllers are rated at 10 kilowatts, so I know for a fact they're never going to blow. They do get a little bit warm, but I'll tackle that when I build the electrical chamber, the electrical box for everything. There'll be plenty of flow anyway, and then they'll probably have their own independent fan on them as well, so that's not a major issue. And tackle everything as it comes along. As you can probably tell, I'm not too good with planning. Right, servos. Out the camera too much. Right. So JMCs. See if we can get this in there. You can. Any good? No, it's not doing anything. My head's in the way. Nah. Right. So, right. JMC servos. 400 watts. These are 36 volts. So I've got 5 36 volts power supplies at 500 watts each, just in case, just to make sure. It's better to have too much power than not enough for these, and don't want to overload the power banks, because bang, blow up. Or satellite. Right. Oh God, that's heavy. Right, so I said this is a hybrid, as in the title anyway. So I've got a 2.2 kilowatt liquid cooled Spindle. I bought this from CNC for You. This with the speaker controller as well was around about £400, I believe. Seems relatively quite nice. It's very, very sturdy. I'm going to have to make the adapters, which I'm having a bit of trouble with, for the tool change side of things, because this is a manual tool change for now, because I need to get this machine going. Eventually it'll be an automatic tool change, as well as I've got a few ideas for my pellet extruder down in the way as well, but I'm not going to say anything yet. So I just kind of need to make sure I get my metal lathe up and running. I'll check this one side. Anything else? Right, drive system. Nope. I'm not running off ball screws, I'm running off belts. These are 20mm 8M polyurethane fibre belts. So nice high tensile. I've got 20 metres, I believe. So on the wide gantry, there's going to be 4 lots of this, 2 rows on each side, running on their own pulleys as well, just treating it like kind of like a rack and pinion, but belt driven. So let's keep it nice and quiet. Same on the X. So hopefully there's plenty of tension on these to keep the tolerances in place, but we'll find out. Worst case scenario, I have to go to ball screws, so it's not too bad. Worth a try, especially if it works. What else do we have for show and tell here? Right, servos, drive screw, right, 3D scanner. Not the top of the range market, it's only 3D cents, but if you go slow enough, these do work really nicely, and as long as your coating is quite flat, as in not reflective, this should work absolutely fine. So I've got this, I'm going to mount this up onto the telescopic arm, and that is going to, I'm just going to use the Duet control and just plot it like 1,000 mil at a time, 10 millimeters a minute, and it goes nice and steady and slow, gives me a good scan. That way I don't have to sit there, hold my arms, I've got rid of the video lucky, but it's still my camera work. I'm a little bit shaky. This will take me hours just to scan a little model, so I'm just going to map this up, make it so much simpler. Right, on the fiberglass side of things, I've got plenty more of this luckily. Right, so as you can see behind me, this is what's mounted on there. It's just a 1.5mm fiberglass. This is from Vicus. It's not overly expensive. Obviously it is if you're going for a size like I'm going for. It's rated for over 500C, and it's about £10 a square metre, I believe. So for what you get protection wise, it's definitely worth it in the installation side of things. I had these lamps running yesterday. The lamps themselves were kicking out about 200 over 200 Celsius, and the underside, absolutely nothing, you didn't even notice it. So it wasn't a problem at all. Even though the bed was only getting to 60, the radiant heat was just dissipating so quickly, it just couldn't keep up with it. Unfortunately, mould steel is not the perfect one when it comes to thermal conductivity as well as thermal capacity, so never mind. Hence why this is only a test bed, and then later down the line I'll upgrade it to the vacuum design that I've got in mind. Especially if I get the Spindle up, because it can make it for me, which is even better. Talking about making it for me, eventually this will be a fourth and fifth axis machine, but for now, to get it running and get everything going, I've got some ideas for the fourth and fifth axes. It's going to be a 3 axes. So I'll get some moulds made. I've got my little Golf GTI stashed out the back, my little Mark II. Poor thing needs a lot of work doing to it. So that was the initial idea of this. I've got the door cards need to be redone, so I'm going to make the moulds, scan the moulds in, hence the scanner, print it, and then machine it. So hence why I've gone for the three different tools for this machine, and the light fixings and all the other stuff. Purely for that one bit, and then it's just kind of bloomed and gone out of control from there. But hey, I'm still having fun for now, so we'll see. What else was I looking for? It was gone blank. Spindle and that was it. There we go. I remembers. As you can tell, none of this is scripted. Right, on the telescopic arm, the 3-stage, technically a 4-stage telescopic arm. My rail will be coming this week from Highwind. I'll get my Highwind rails from CRD. They do fair pricing, and yeah, which is bloody handy, really. So I'm going to use, if you want to see this, where's the sticker? Right, I'm using Kevlar line. That's terrible focus. Right, so Kevlar cord. This is only around about 2.5 millimeters, maybe 3 millimeters thick. Rated at 1,000 pounds, 500 kilos. I'll be running 2 lots on each section of the telescopic arm with this. I chose this purely because it's heat resistant, it won't stretch, and basically it's, for what you get, the price is absolutely brilliant. I ordered just U-type shaped runners for it. They're stainless, so they'll take the load quite easily. And then I'm just going to get some Igus bushings to go inside so it runs quieter as best I can. And then that should hopefully keep the machine, between that and the belts and the way of running everything else and the servos, this machine in general, minus the cutting side of things, should be very, very quiet. Which is main key really. If I'm going to be stuck in this room and I'm going to be, you know, having this machine running, I want to make sure I can actually sit in this room and not get a headache. So especially when I start cutting stuff, because I want to get, once the 3 axes is done and I've got the moulds done and other stuff coming in, I've got an idea for using some Oldham 1010 and machining myself my 4th and my 5th axes components out of that, just to see, well, 1, if it can print it, and 2, I know for a fact the material can handle the 4th and 5th axes. I've got 100mm ID, I believe there are 150mm OD bearings, tapered bearings, heavy duty, 4 lots of them, 2 for each axis, and that should keep it nice and taut with intolerance, and at least that way I can run all my wiring down there and my air and my water fixings through that central point as well. Just keep everything really nice and as tidy as I can. Obviously I don't go too tidy because the bed's a bit of a mess, and I do apologise. On the other side, I should be getting on with, just trying to think here, should be getting on with the telescopic arm next weekend. I'll try and do an update as quick as I can, but actually I'm only one person. I can only get as much done as I can get done. And I think that should be about it. If you've got any questions, please just post them up on the video. If this sort of sector interests you, the 3D printing side of things, even the CNC side of things, please make sure, like everyone else says, gives a thumbs up and subscribe. It always helps out. That would be fantastic, and see you next time. Thank you.